New evidence suggests that the Spanish police have staged a cover up over the Jay Slater case, hiding the criminal underworld and protecting their massive tourism industry. Tenerife is one of the most important tourist destinations in Spain and the world, and authorities want to keep it that way, even if it means that they are willing to go to great lengths, like using fake video to prove that they discovered Jay. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Yesterday, people were up in arms about Jay's mother asking for more donations after her GoFundMe had already reached £62,000. But the chief executive director of the overseas crisis support charity, LBT Global, who is in Tenerife supporting Jay's family, released a new statement to combat trolls. So if you're in a position to do so, I have linked the family's GoFundMe in the description below. So it's been reported that Jay's family are trying to find the exact location of where Jay was found. The Spanish police are not releasing this information and have handed out fake video to prove that he was found in a certain location, down a ravine that was highly treacherous. But even this is unconfirmed. This has made many people ask why they won't disclose it. I mean, the top comment on this post reads, "Refused because it's a cover-up." And then someone follows up, quote, "He never got there himself. He was unalived before and put elsewhere." End quote. So Down the Rapids and law enforcement have searched this area countless times and found nothing because it was 20 minutes away from where his phone last pinged, which makes no sense because Jay would have had to be left out in the heat and the stench would be overwhelming to not only humans, but to world-class sniffer dogs. One user writes, quote, "So in excessive heat, it takes only 24 to 48 hours for a body to decompose, around 9 days only for it to turn to bones. My thoughts are, if Jay had been there for just 2 days, the stench would have been horrendous. No need for sniffer dogs, plus excessive amounts of flies. So how was he missed? As surely you know by the smell, something wasn't right. Seriously, something very odd about all of this," end quote. And now it's been revealed that the original video of the recovery mission that all the mainstream media was putting out there was actually fake and taken from an old video, as confirmed by Down the Rapids. So an insider from my last video revealed that Jay was discovered by Spanish police via an anonymous tip-off on Saturday. So it would make sense why news reports would use an old video to show that they recovered Jay Slater's body. This has got people wondering if maybe Jay never made it to the B&B alive. So one user found an old video of Down the Rapids approaching the B&B and notices flies surrounding the B&B where Jay was supposed to be.
That's just a light switch. It's a light switch for that. And a key lock. Just a clap.
Yeah, and the top comment reads, quote, "All the flies around the door," end quote. So was Jay's body inside of here? So right now, the prevailing theory is that Jay was passed on before he entered the B&B, and there's been a massive cover-up by Spanish police to protect their image and reputation as a safe destination for tourism, when really there's a huge underbelly of crime and the police are wrapped up in it. So this video is from Bobs and Bits on TikTok, and I will link all my sources in the description below.
So I'm going to tell you what my timeline of why I actually think has happened with Jay Slater. Because there are some things that haven't even been mentioned on any of the comments, on any of the YouTube clips, on any of the news outlets, have not even been mentioned. Well, I haven't seen them mentioned anyway, that I think if the UK police were investigating this would have been crucial to this case. So first of all, I believe that Jay Slater's life was ended soon after the nightclub and somewhere around the beach. That CCTV footage may support that, but it may be fake, who knows. But I believe it happened around there. There was some kind of interaction set up with these two guys. Lucy May was heavily involved in this, but I don't think she expected it to go so far. Now, it's to do with substances or money or that watch or watches, whatever. I'm not interested in the details on why they met, but something happened with that interaction that ended the life of Jay Slater. Now, I do believe that Jay Slater travelled for an hour up north, up into the hills with these two guys to this B&B, but not as a passenger, as a body. This brings me on to my first point, something that hasn't been mentioned on any of my comments, and not that I've seen anyway, and on the YouTube videos out there or any news outlets. The very car that these two guys used to transport, in my opinion, Jay's body up north, up into the hills, an hour away conveniently. What is the timeline of when this was hired out? Did they hire this out for this journey? And also, why weren't forensics all over this car, impounding it on the very day? That would happen in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Check it for spatter marks. There's no point checking for DNA because obviously he was probably in the car, but I don't think he was like alive in the car. So they should check it for any type of like struggle or anything like that. You know what I mean? Get it checked. And then this Airbnb. When was this actually booked? We need to know this stuff. When was it booked? Was it booked on purpose so they've got a destination to like, sort out the body and stop overnight while they're doing this? I mean, this is basic investigation. Come on. We literally have no proof that Jay was like coherent and alive at this Airbnb. That photograph, with that in his hand coming out the stairs, that could have been anybody. We haven't had a selfie up there or anything like that. And we have Lucy May's word that she spoke to him, which I think's a load of rubbish. That lady that apparently saw him walking up the road, like going off on his jollies on to start like an 11-hour journey on foot, I believe that she was paid to say that. If anybody asks you, just say you saw this lad walking up quite fast. He was going off-road, you know what I mean? And there's some money for you. I mean, come on. My mum would do that. My mum would do it for a £5. Do you know what I mean? She's 75. My next point, which I don't think has been mentioned, that should have been a crucial part of the investigation, was Lucy May, her account. Now, she said that she had interaction with him, okay? And, we all heard the interaction, yeah? So, because she's not part of the investigation, there's no reason to impound her phone. That phone needs checking. The IT guys need to come in. If this was in the UK, that phone would be thoroughly checked. Okay, we need proof and evidence that this interaction has actually taken place because I think she's made that up. But what's interesting to me on that very first search, when the cadaver dogs were out, they may well have indicated that something was down there, some anomaly. But the police either ignored it on purpose or they already knew Jay was down there as part of the bribe from those two. I've seen so many comments saying, why go to all this lengths? Why did the authority go to all this effort to cover up this one lad going missing, coming into difficulty, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you why. Because it's devastating to the economy and worth millions. The Spanish authority needs you, British people mainly, to believe that some random teenager went out on a night out, befriended two guys who were mules, who were like double his age, accepted a lift an hour away up into the hills because he had nowhere to stay, even though he was on holiday. They went to an Airbnb. He had no charge on his phone, even though he asked them for a charge and they provided him with one. He couldn't be bothered wait around till 10 o'clock for a buzz and decided to go the opposite way and walk back down to town, which is an 11-hour walk, and got into difficulty off the field. The Spanish authority needs you to believe that. They can't have you, potential future tourists who are going to spend your hard-earned cash over there, to believe what may be the actual truth, that Tenerife is controlled by gang-related crimes, trafficking, substance, everything. And Jay, unfortunately, might have chose or got caught up in all this, with Lucy May's help. Guys, you've got to start thinking outside the box. Stop looking at news outlets and YouTube clips that say this has been confirmed and that's been confirmed. Honestly, they've all got agendas. They have, and they've got to protect the tourism industry and the economy. It's vital. Even as high up as the Spanish courts, the authorities, they will all back the Spanish police and whatever they're doing to protect themselves. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many people have actually gone missing? And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these ravines in Tenerife are like makeshift graveyards. That Airbnb should have been tented off on the day and forensically examined on the day in a timeline of when it was booked. That hire car should have been impounded on that day and forensically examined in a timeline of when that was booked. Lucy May's mobile phone should have been confiscated and thoroughly examined by IT specialists for everything that comes in and everything that goes out in a timeline. And those two guys should have been arrested and placed into police custody under the police and criminal evidence clock, which is the PACE clock, 72 hours, which will give investigators plenty enough time to sift through their phone with a fine tooth comb. I wonder where their phones pinged that morning.
Yeah, and honestly, that guy's theories gives me chills because that's exactly what I think. And he brought up a really good point with Lucy potentially drawing Jay to this conclusion. Not saying that she did, but just looking at her Instagram, it looks like someone who travels a lot with no sort of job, and you kind of just scratch your head like, what does this person do for a living that is able to fund this lifestyle? And did she possibly get Jay involved in that? I don't know, but it does raise some really good questions. And people are pointing out that Abe's story made absolutely no sense because he said they went back to the B&B to party, but then he literally contradicts himself in the same account by saying that they all went to bed. Also, the blanket from Jay's final Snapchat, which was so weird, like, why wouldn't you take a selfie, matched up with the one from his accommodation he shared with Lucy. And there's even a painted toenail sticking out under the blanket. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this theory about the police basically putting out there that they found Jay's body, but then completely covering up the location and using fake video to do so? Do you think there's some sort of big cover up going on? Sound off in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting my face right above Miss Gabby, who you can see her little nose. She has totally given up. All right, guys, stay safe. And if you're going to travel to Tenerife, I recommend you don't, but also stay safe, guys. Love you guys. Have a good day. Let's roll the outro. Bye.